Psychiatry 2018. Elizabeth Macaulay was the lead researcher. Now, if you've heard me talk about DBT before, you've heard me talk about how it's been used for borderline personality disorder, which was what it was originally designed for. However, it's found to be useful in a lot of other things. And this particular study, it's a big study. They crossed 4 different academic centers, and they looked at 173 participants. And it's really good. It's a really good study because they made sure to mention and control for things like race and gender. And the results of the trial supported the efficacy of DBT for reducing self-harm and suicide attempts in highly suicidal self-harming adolescents. And it's actually on the basis of 2 independent trials supporting efficacy. Not just this one, but results support DBT as the first well-established empirically supported treatment for decreasing repeated suicide attempts and self-harm in youth. And this particular study was good because they checked follow-up rates of self-harm, and after about a year, the advantage of DBT, there was no statistically significant between group differences from 6 to 12 months. So, but it was very more acutely useful. So it's neat. So it's a good technique. There's another meta-analysis for suicidal behavior, not just in adolescents. This was in the Journal of Behavioral Therapy in 2019. The title of this meta-analysis was Dialectical Behavioral Therapy is Effective for the Treatment of Suicidal Behavior, a Meta-Analysis. It prioritizes behavior and other self-directed violence as the primary treatment targets. So, unlike cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses more on some of your underlying thoughts, and which is very useful, DBT really is helpful for those strong, emotions when you're not really thinking, you're not able to think. Most people who would attempt suicide usually regret it afterwards, and if they live, they regret it. They regret attempting the suicide. You're not usually thinking clearly during those times when you are most suicidal. So the big, I don't have my green screen turned on, do I? Oh no. Okay, well, we'll just continue. We'll just be here in this room, I guess. Maybe that'll be okay. But anyways, as I was saying, DBT really works to focus on some of those strong emotions. Finger fluttering, hand sounds. Which sounds do you like the best? My hand is getting tired. I've never done a hand sounds trigger video before, so DBT really focuses on that behavior, which is why I like to tell you guys about more than one kind of therapy, because I think that you can use, multiple different kinds of therapy to help you out, and the benefit of DBT is that it does have that really strong ability to just help calm you down. So this meta-analysis that I was talking about, they took 18 controlled trials, and focusing on self-directed violence and reduced frequency of psychiatric crisis services. There was not a significant pooled effect of DBT with regard to suicidal ideation, which means that the ideas were still there, but people didn't act on them. For ideas, I think something like CBT is really good. But that's, and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. People have been confused in the past and thought that I was saying a D. I am not saying a D, I am saying CBT. So DBT is neat. And the technique that specifically I want to talk about today is from chapter 2 of the Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Skills Workbook that I always have linked below. below, just like I always have those crisis, helpline numbers and everything else. And this is called Value Living, rediscovering your values. And I'm going to be going over these questions with you, asking them of you. Yep. So basically the idea is kind of similar to the idea behind logotherapy, which, I've mentioned many times. The idea of finding a purpose through your suffering is kind of how logotherapy takes it. The way that the DBT people frame it is more decreasing your suffering in a stressful situation by focusing on spending more time on what you value in your life, right? Whether that's mental time or real, physical time in your activities. So, because sometimes, and the quote from them is, sometimes we forget why we're doing something that's hard, and this makes it difficult for us to continue. So maybe you're in a relationship that isn't fulfilling, and you wonder why you're maintaining it. You wonder why you're going to school, why you're in this job, and so you got to evaluate what you believe and what you think. So this first exercise, the Value Living Questionnaire, was created by Wilson 2002, Wilson and Murals 2004. And as you read each component, you're going to ask yourself how important each of these areas is to your life. So I'm going to ask you these, and I'm going to ask you to go ahead and rate them from 0 to 10, with 10 being extremely important, 0 being not important at all. Okay? And you should get a little notebook and write down your answers. Then you're going to use those answers afterwards in the next exercise, which is the committed action exercise. Okay? Basically, so I'll tell you about that as we get to it. So first question for your Value Living Questionnaire. How important would you say family is to you, other than romantic relationships or parenting, like family in general? Okay, so between 0 and 10, where would you put it? Okay. How important would you say romantic relationships are to you? Same thing, between 0 and 10. Okay. And then how about parenting? Where would you put it? I'll listen to that sound. How about friends and social life? Where would you put that? How about work? Okay. There's no wrong answers. They have to be consistent with your values. I wouldn't say there's no wrong answers. I think if you think that, there are some answers that do reflect certain illnesses. Like if you were to put 0 for all social interactions, including family, romantic relationships, parenting, everything that had to do with other human beings, I would think that you should ask your therapist to evaluate you for one of 2 different personality disorders that can be affecting your life. But that doesn't mean that you're bad or anything like that. It just means maybe those things need to be adjusted. But aside from extreme variations, there's really no wrong answers. Again, it's just aside from extreme answers that maybe require a little bit of help, or it's going to go by your values. Obviously, if you've been on the channel with me before, I believe in things like a right and wrong. But when it comes to your health, it's really what we're looking at is like what's going to be healthiest for you. And it's going to be healthiest for you to identify your particular values, not necessarily the ones that other people have put for you or think that you should have, okay? Not necessarily answers they think that you should have, right? So don't be afraid is what I'm saying. Don't be afraid of putting what said, if all of your answers for anything social is 0, I would say maybe ask to get support. See if you need a evaluation for one of the personality disorders. But otherwise, the point of this exercise isn't to diagnose anything, certainly, or tell you, what you need to, how you need to make your values be. The point of this exercise is to help you find for yourself how you could make your current life a little bit more resilient to stress and resilient to depression. So don't treat this like a graded exercise. This is going to be, you're going to use the numbers from the Value Living Questionnaire to help you plan your committed action. It's very you focused. Don't worry about it. Don't be anxious. Don't be anxious. Of course, saying don't be anxious makes people anxious, right? Give me your stress. Just suck it right up. So the next one is education and training. Where would you rate that from 0 to 10? Okay. How about recreation and fun? And then spirituality and religion. How about citizenship and community life? And let me say also that this isn't reflecting the 0 to 10 is how important you feel it is, not how important you're acting on, right? It's how much do you what do you care about inside? Again, not what you're supposed to care about, not what is expected of you. What do you actually feel? Be as honest as you can. And then the last one is self-care from 0 to 10, exercise, diet, relaxation, and so on. And this one is one that people can be judgmental on. People can be like, you need to put this up at a 10 and stuff like that. No, you put it where you feel that it's important to you, because this is for, again, this is not a diagnosis tool. This is for practical, although, if your self-care is, if you have a very low self-esteem, you will probably rank the self-care thing very, very low, right? So obviously there are things that are going to correlate, just like I said, how certain answers are going to correlate to some personality disorders, but that's not what this tool is for. This isn't a tool for you to judge yourself. It's not a tool for you to diagnose yourself. It's a tool for you to look at practically. Just think about it very practical, kind of black and white, like, how can I use these numbers that I come up with to help me cope with my depression, my personality disorder, or whatever else is causing me a lot of stress, right? And that's it. Those are all things. So next, you need to identify out of those components. Go ahead and look at your sheet. Yeah, go ahead and look at your sheet. Identify which ones you rated between 5 and 10, from moderately important to extremely important. Okay. Now, I've included a copy of the committed action worksheet below for you. It's at the end of the chapter that's included. And I want you to fill in the names of the things that you scored highest on in the Value Living Questionnaire. Fill those in on the committed action worksheet, okay? So, basically, we can go through it piece by piece. So say you did rate self-care highly, right? A component of my life that I value is self-care, right? You rated it between 5 and 10. My intention for this component is, so you're going to then write down what you intend to do. An intention is basically like, so if you rated education really highly, your intention might be to go back to school. Or if you rated romantic relationships highly, it might be to spend more time with your partner, okay? Then you're going to identify several actions you're willing to commit to, like actual concrete actions that will guide you towards that goal. So like if you put self-care and your intention, self-care is a little vague, I think, to make an intention, but maybe your intention is to lose weight as part of your self-care. That's your intention, your broad goal. The committed actions that you're actually going to do are going to be, they need to be specific. So if your goal is to lose weight, your specific actions might be, I'm going to cut out soda this week, and I'm going to start running 20 minutes every other day the next week, right? Stagger them. Don't take all your actions at once. You want to stagger them so that you don't overwhelm yourself and you succeed, right? Because if you overwhelm yourself and you get discouraged, then you kind of put yourself in a bad place. You want to set yourself up for success. So, for example, if your intention is go back to school, the actions you might list might be getting a catalog of classes next week or signing up for a class within the next 3 weeks, right? If your intention is to spend more time with your spouse, your committed actions might be not working overtime for the next month and spending less time with friends for the next 2 weeks. I think those are too broad. I would be more specific because, again, spouses, I think that's a tough one to make sure you do correctly. So, in a way that actually makes you happy. So, not working overtime is very specific, but spending less time with friends is very vague. So I would say keep friend time to, I don't know, I'm not prescribing something for you, but, my committed action is to talk to friends online no more than 1 hour a week because I'm spending more time with my spouse, right? So being very, very specific, right? And so that's what I want you to do. So go ahead and just write those things down. And yeah, that's it. That's it. You just write down a couple components that you rated between 5 and 10. You write down what your intention for the component is and 3 committed actions for each intention. And then schedule them and get started on doing them. And you will find little by little as you do each one, week after week after week, it may be really difficult to build up to it, but as you start doing these, you'll find you have something to look forward to. You'll find you have something to think about that matters to you. And it really will help you to feel better. It makes a big difference because it gives you something to look forward to, right? It's a lot harder to die when you have plans. And usually people who are dying, what they'll do is they'll start canceling all their plans or finishing their affairs out, right? So you want to make it hard for yourself to do that. You want to make it so that you have a lot of things keeping you here, to keep you around. All right. What questions do you have for me? Were these hand sounds okay? Let me know. I feel like it's difficult to, it's difficult sometimes because the kind of ASMR that I like and enjoy watching is not necessarily the ASMR that other people enjoy watching and doing, or that what people want from me. I should have thought about that before I started a channel with the name, like actual doctor ASMR. But I wanted to help people. But I also hate medicine, which is something I should have thought about before I became a doctor. So, a way this very practically helps me. This kind of thing is doing my writing has given me stuff to look forward to during the times that medicine was by the way. I think some of you think that the Relaxation Club is subscribing. It is not. It is not subscribing to the channel. To tell you the truth, I could care less if you subscribe to this channel, because YouTube subscribers do not all get notified, and if I have made a strong impression on you, my thought will be that you will come back to me consistently, regardless of whether you're subscribed to this channel. It's nice if you want to, certainly it's nice, but I actually would rather that you join the Relaxation Club, because then YouTube doesn't have control over how you and I interact. I want freedom. The Relaxation Club basically means that I send out bonus content every week, where I send out different studies that I've been looking at for relaxation and stress. I want to become the world's foremost relaxation physician. And so I think that there are, unique positions within primary care that can help people to find health and relax. And that's something that matters to me. That's something that matters to me a lot. And so, and I also notify people of my, like videos you might have missed, including like videos from like different smaller channels and things like that, or just channels or videos you might not have seen. Those are all in like one nice digest. I don't send out an email every time there's a cool video, because that would be a lot of emails, and then you would hate me. That's no fun. So, so join the Relaxation Club and get taken care of, basically. It's in kind of affiliation with my Tingles tea. I've been trying to start a little online tea shop to help, just specifically for people who enjoy ASMR, to kind of help you find healthy things that calm you down and just bring you that nice sense of meditation that gets you ready for the tingles, right? And so sometimes I'll send out, so as I've been researching teas around the world and finding things that are scientifically the best for you, I have been trying to, I send out information as I find new, studies and things like that on that. So, cool stuff. And then last, definitely, a tea or a weekly email isn't going to, treat your severe depression or borderline personality disorder. Please definitely use the resources that are in the description below. You hear that? That are in the description below, including the crisis text line number. You can try to contact your health department if you need a therapist and can't afford one. If you need an online therapist, I can get you 10% off